The Indigenous Studies program is actually our PhD program, okay? And it's a program that's interdisciplinary. I'm Tala Aurora Salinas Ramos, and I'm the current director for Museo Cordillera of UP Baguio.
I'm Annalyn Salvador Amores. I'm professor of anthropology at the College of Social Sciences in UP Baguio.
The idea of the Indigenous program is actually centered on the idea of decolonization. And that's why we try to look at new methodologies or epistemologies, or what we would say as other ways of knowing, okay, which have usually been forgotten or marginalized because of hegemonic frameworks or even with Western positions of how even to look at research or even indigenous peoples at large. It's very different because here you try to decolonize, as we would say. There are different ways of looking at it, and because it does not follow the Western concept, there are a lot of principles that you have to observe. For example, respect for the communities. There's a form of reciprocity. Ibig sabihin, you don't just get from them, but you have to give back something to the communities. There's also responsibility on your part. So there are roles that you play for this type of reciprocal knowing. So you are not only extractive of that knowledge, but you give something back, okay, to the community.
We had a very interesting encounter sa mga elders, no, sa different in different weaving communities. So the elders would validate our research, no, kung tama ba itong na-capture namin from our interviews and from our research, no. So they help us validate. Well, Indigenous studies, this is very specific, no, for Indigenous peoples in the Philippines. They have their own distinct culture.
They can see the word differently by Indigenous Studies because they will realize the Indigenous peoples have their ways of knowing, okay, which normally we don't look at or we take for granted. They also have ways of how to study their own ways of knowing, okay, and these are the things that hopefully we'll be able to imbibe to our students.
So at ISP, I teach, in particular, introduction to material culture with a specific focus on the Cordillera, because Indigenous Studies program also talks about material culture, and in the Cordillera, there is the visible and material expressions of identity, or what you call as indigeneity.
Okay, it's important for UP to have the Indigenous Studies program, because it is here where we also try to awaken other forms of knowing. Okay, it's also here where we are able to help out and protect and respect indigenous peoples of the Cordillera and Northern Luzon, as well as other indigenous groups.
That's very important with the ISP program. The students are taught how to appreciate, this relationship, this nexus of culture and identity.